Have you ever clicked on a news article, maybe something that was fed to you, and you click on it, or maybe you've gone to Fox News or CNN and clicked on a link, and then you've quickly noticed that, wait a minute, the story you just clicked on has nothing to do with the line you thought. Maybe you clicked on something about cars, and this is about beaches. I mean, that's an extreme example. But when a company creates, or if you were to set up a blog, you would title that blog and give it a link. You may then swap out the underlining comments linked to that link, but the link usually stays the same in order to be tied to the table of contents or wherever it was pushed out. This is never an accident. The stories are edited and manipulated. And often a clickbait redirection gets you down another pathway altogether. That might not be something you're interested in, but all of a sudden they've tricked you to believe that, yes, you made this choice. So today with Tech Reality, this is Barbara coming from Silicon Valley. I'm continuing this season 3 with episode 2. We're following the feed to find the truth. Now, again, this was really pushed by Candace's inquiries into what's going on in the world, but specifically with what happened to her friend. And silence is not the option or the path that we're taking. So in this second episode of this season, we're looking at when CEOs change the feed without announcing it. So I want to go ahead and start with a little bit of an opening here. And let me be very, very clear. What you're seeing right now is not random. It's not accidental. And it's not for your benefit. It's for the systems. Right now, we're seeing all systems around us collapse, challenging the narrative to give us a chance to know the truth, to turn on the lights, and say, you know what, we've known this all along. We've been lied to or manipulated. Let's live in a world where we can treat each other with respect. We can't right now. Everything that you can think of, including the churches, as we discussed today, is being manipulated. CEOs don't hold press conferences when they change reality. They don't tweet about it. And they certainly are not going to come knocking on your door asking for permission. They deploy it. That's it. And by the time you notice that, hey, something might be off here, a creator disappeared, your reach has collapsed, yeah, you are actually being shadow banned, a topic suddenly flooded your feed out of nowhere. I don't care anything about race cars. I never have. That's been pushed on me throughout my life. That's fine. But when you get to the pit, it is very loud and dusty and burnt tires and crowds that often are screaming and yelling. None of that is appealing to me. But the part of the time when you realize that, wait a minute, why is that coming to me? Why is this in my feed? The decision was made weeks ago in a room that you were never invited to. You certainly weren't a fly on the wall. You didn't even know it was happening. But today we're following the feed. And we're exposing how CEOs quietly change your experience without ever announcing it. Welcome to the new world. So today's feed trigger, I looked through Google Trends as a concept. So I'll sprinkle a little bit in there today. But before we get into the structure, let's talk about why this episode is showing up now. Why are you hearing my voice? Why is this relevant to you? If you look at Google Trends today, you'll notice spikes around platform algorithm changes, shadow banning, terms of service updates, CEO control of content. Just kidding. They don't trend that. They train gossip and manipulation, not things that are actually useful to you. But yes, one Silicon Valley founder asked a former president, I think it was yesterday, to get out of jail. She created a company that did more tests on blood than any company could do. But what we don't really talk about so much is the major funding for this company that pulled her out of Stanford into the front light was funded through military, not necessarily contracts, but accelerators and individuals with military background on the East Coast, blending into the tech accelerators and VCs on the West Coast. And I maintain, although the stories seem different, that company did not go under because of the massive fraud. I think we can say it's fraud now, not allegedly. There's been a conviction. I don't know. But in my opinion, it wasn't because of the manipulation of the data or the lies or the tours that deviated out of the lab. It was because of the attacks on the employees that were saying, hey, this isn't the truth. You can't bully and rough up people. Well, you can, but apparently that was the breaking point. And we see this over and over again. These aren't disconnected stories. They're actually signals. When multiple platforms adjust visibility, legal language, and enforcement, kind of like Mockingbird pastors or Mockingbird media, and it's enforced at the same time, that is not a coincidence. Everybody didn't come up with this brilliant idea at the same time. That's coordination around incentives. And now more than ever, it's easy because, again, you carry the device in your pocket that every time you open it, you see what they want you to see. And you don't see what they don't want you to see. Have you ever had your emails open in your computer or your phone in front of you and you've watched it while emails one after another are deleted in front of you over and over again? That's not your choice. Somebody else has decided on some level to grab those. They're gone. Now, I'm not saying that somebody's in your computer or somebody's specifically watching your computer, but somebody decided that anything with those keywords you would not see. Often it happens in the background and you don't know that you're even missing those emails. But it sure is a surreal experience when you watch them disappear on your own. You sit there and with your own eyes, you see it. That's not coordination to help you. It's to manipulate you. So the core truth, product decisions are power decisions. These are power moves. They're not content decisions. They're not community decisions. You didn't vote on this. They're power decisions. So the framework for today, I'm looking at DEC. Decision is the first point we're going to talk with. What has changed internally? So let's start where the public never looks, inside the company. This is why whistleblowers are so important. You and I don't know what's going on down the street in that house or inside that business. But individuals brought to the table know and hear and see and have values that may or may not be in alignment with that. If it's not in alignment, they're a whistleblower if they speak out. So again, let's start where the public never looks, inside the company. Most major platforms operate on feature flags, experiment buckets, gradual rollouts, and silent A/B testing. You may see something one day and something different the next, and they'll see how long your eyeballs will on it. Your neighbor may see one thing and another neighbor another, and see which one tracks better. Whichever gets more clicks and engagement is going to be the winner. This isn't any different than how Google won the race. In-Q-Tel, one of the CIA accelerators, invested money into multiple horses running the technology race. Some won. Facebook won. Google, Twitter. You can go down the list of who won that race and garnered the money moving forward. You still had to prove yourself. You had to be a manipulative leader or leader, and in order to push forward. But the funding is massive, and it still is today as they garner government contracts. Now, employees on site will protest and go into the CEOs or executive offices and say they don't want to accept any more government contracts, or they don't want to be involved in military programs. That's the game they signed up for. That's where these companies get their money. How do you think they're paying programmers millions of dollars a year? You try to start your own company and see how fast you earn millions of dollars a year, and then do it at scale with tens of thousands of employees. The money's coming from somewhere else. So that means two users can open the same app at the same time, but live completely different realities. No announcement required. And here's what the key is. There's something called a terms of service and a privacy application. Now, this is something that is extremely difficult to prove because it changes like magic in the background. What happens is, let's say you sign up to a new software as a service, any platform you can name, whether it's gaming or accounting or note taking, and you're going to have to say, yes, I agree to this. Do you click on it? No, there's really no point on clicking on it. And the reason why is, one, the print is so small. Two is it's page after page after page of one paragraph contradicts another paragraph that flows into another paragraph, that even if you understand it, you print it and you highlight it and you cross-reference with legal documents, there's nothing you can do about it. If you want to use the tool, you use the tool. Now, we saw when Disney told an individual that they couldn't get compensation for harm caused as a physical Disney resort because they had agreed to a service via the Disney app to watch TV. Those are two very distinct things. There should be no overlap there. And yet they can twist and write anything in there. But the real reason why we don't spend a lot of time there isn't that we can't understand it or we can't read it. We can understand that it's a mess and it's not meant to help us. But did you know that often when you sign up for a service, just a few days later, you're going to get something in your email box that's going to say, hey, we've updated our terms of service. Do you think they just updated it within hours or days of you signing up? No, of course they haven't. And they know that since you just either took time or probably didn't take time, this next one that they give you, you're not going to look at all because you're going to, what changes can there be? I just got the most recent, where there can't be that many differences. It's a totally different game. That's where everything is hidden. And they know that you won't look at it and you won't see it. This is not by accident. This is what CEOs do, manipulating the data behind the scenes so that you don't catch it. So here's where terms of service comes in. Every few months, you see a pop-up. We've updated our terms. You clicked accept because you want your access back. You're used to using the tool. It's a convenience. Is it really a convenience? Do you really need it? There's so many tools that when I'm aware, often I'm not made aware because it happens in the background, but I don't use. And people argue with me. They try to put things on my phone, act like I don't know how to use a phone. I know how to use a phone. I know how to use discernment, and I appreciate freedom. But if you click accept because you want your access back, what has actually changed? Data sharing permissions, and they don't need your permission. They're already sharing the data. That's just a formality or something to be nice. Of course, they're always updating now, training rights for AI. If you are stupid enough, or if you volunteer your data into any one of the different products that they offer, they're using it to train AI. That means if you're using tax software, all of your data is being used to train AI, and that data is being sold to the highest bidder. Arbitration clauses, those aren't for you. Content enforcement thresholds, privacy toggles defaulted back online. How often did you sign into a Facebook account as an example? And although you had meticulously gone through every single toggle and say, no, don't share this and only do its relative and no cookies, every time you go back there, it's all turned back on again. They help themselves to it, knowing that they don't even have to turn it on. But the moment they turn it on, they scrape all the data. And by the time you catch it, it's too late because your data has already been sold. Your digital persona is gone. That footprint of you on the internet is long gone before you even find out about it. So it's an opt-in by friction. You didn't choose, you just complied. And compliance is consent in Silicon Valley. They've rewritten the rules, and this is how it stayed for decades, getting worse and worse as the days go on. So E is execution, how it shows up in your feed. This is the part people feel, but they often can't articulate, like the concept of a conspiracy. Gosh, am I a conspiracy theorist? Could this be real? Yes, of course it's real. If you're thinking about it and other people have facts to prove that it occurred, it's not just something made up. A conspiracy happened. But they make it shadowy, in the dark, distrustful. Oh, don't be ridiculous. Don't waste your time on that. So this is really the part where people feel it and know it, but have a hard time articulating it. Suddenly, your reach drops, maybe even 70% or turned off. Long form is deprioritized. Certain words trigger suppression. The video gets pushed over any text. And emotion beats accuracy. Facebook is a textbook example. If it's a tree, well, let me go down another path here. If it's free, you are the product. People aren't just making all this stuff to make sure that you have gifts every day. They're taking you, a piece of you, and selling it. Facebook didn't sell ads. They sold you, segmented, timed, and emotionally primed. Is this an opinion or allegedly? I think that's well into common knowledge by now. The feed isn't there to inform you. It's there to keep you scrolling, keep you engaged, keep you on page, train your reactions, manipulate your emotions, optimize ad inventory, and shape behavior, but at scale, mass manipulation. And they're darn good at it. Creators don't disappear because they just gave up or fell off. They disappear because their content no longer serves the current risk or revenue model. C, consequences. Who wins and who disappears? Now let's talk about the human cost. When feeds change silently, small creators vanish. Independent journalists lose distribution. Businesses collapse overnight and narratives consolidate. And you lose out. And this isn't hypothetical. Look at Silicon Valley blood testing company, once celebrated and now convicted, who is publicly signaling for political intervention. She made those choices. I didn't make those choices. But the manipulation continues. And why does this matter here? Because Silicon Valley rewards vision until liability shows up, disruption until regulators arrive, control, well, until the story breaks. And this is the push we have in order to find out what really happened in September. CEOs don't lose power when products fail. They lose power when narratives escape containment. And feeds are a form of containment systems. So for a technical jump into AI, voice, and verification, let's just spend a few moments here. Now we have a new problem layered on top of all of this, AI-generated voice and media. This is what we talked about with HeyGen and 11 Labs. Here's the reality. Voice recordings are no longer proof. Audio can be synthesized convincingly. Really, if you're not paying attention, there's no way to know. And even if you are paying attention, you probably don't have any way to know. Context can be fabricated. Timing can be manipulated. Have you ever sat in a movie theater? That's all manipulation. But that's what has now bled into real life via social media and the news, which are news stories. Both Barron and Candace have said this clearly. A voice recording alone is no longer non-AI evidence. You got to find somebody in the room. Verification now requires human in the room. We talk about human in the loop. In this case, find somebody that you trust. Are they telling the truth? Find another person to collaborate stories. Someone who can say, I was there, I heard it. I can verify that. But in the case of who is currently CEO of TPUSA, apparently we're still waiting for a verification. And yet time has moved on. They've already set sail in a new direction. And wow, is that a new direction? This changes journalism, this changes law, and this changes trust. The feed will show you the clip. It will not show you the chain of custody. That omission is the feature. So in closing, silence is a strategy. CEOs don't announce feed changes because the moment they do, the power shifts back to you. If you wait for press releases, you already missed the move. The feed doesn't reflect reality, it creates it. And once you see it, you stop reacting and you start positioning. So the 3 core questions or takeaway from this are, I'm going to state here, just so through the day, if you want to think about it a little bit. 1, how can feeds change without updates? Because feature flags, experiments in terms of service, privacy statements shift, they don't require announcements. They only require acceptance, whether willing or not. 2, why do some creators vanish overnight? Because visibility is allocated, not earned. And allocation follows revenue and risk models. Candace is hot. She's getting $5 million, $5 million views an episode. That's huge money they're making. It's bringing a lot of people to YouTube that may or may not normally use YouTube. Until she's not useful anymore, she will be on the platform. And then she will not. And number 3, what metrics matter more than public statements? Retention, watch value, eyeballs, emotional engagement, advertiser safety, and legal exposure always. So thank you very much for following along with this series. Again, we're focusing on the tech reality based on my experience and my opinion here in Silicon Valley. This is season 3. We're following the feed to find the truth. And today's episode is when CEOs change the feed without announcing it. All right, catch you on the next one.